Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Elizabeth. There's a video that I posted called You Are Becoming Who You Need to Be, or You Will Become Who You Need to Be, something like that. I can't quite remember. I think it's the last one I just said. So I thought for sure in that video I mentioned something about hearing the voice of God, but I looked through the transcript and I couldn't find it anywhere, and so it must have been a different video. But I thought it was so ironic because I thought I did say something. I mean, I kind of alluded to it, but it's not exact. And so because of that, I thought it was so ironic. You know, there's a pastor and a teacher, his name is Derek Prince, and I really love listening to his messages. He's just a fantastic preacher. And, you know, since I thought I had mentioned something about the voice of God, I thought it was pretty ironic that in the first video that I listened to yesterday at work, which was January 12th, 2026, he mentioned something about hearing the voice of God. And, you know, a great way to hear the voice of God is to become very familiar with what it sounds like. And he told a story about this famous ballerina that he knew, you know, before she became famous. And he said she would eat and sleep and read everything was about ballet. Everything she read, everything related to ballet. She just engulfed herself in this practice of ballet. And he said she became a very famous ballerina, and he kind of takes that and applies it to his own life. And, you know, like, he just eats and sleeps in, you know, the Bible. Everything about the Bible, reads everything about, you know, reads the Bible, maybe books pertaining to the Bible, but mostly the Bible. And, you know, he was saying that that's how you can learn the voice of God. And he said that if his wife calls him on the phone, he doesn't need to ask who is calling, because he knows his wife's voice. And that's how we can be when we study the Word and, you know, connect with it and really learn it. That's why. And then when I told Phil, I told him the story as well, and he mentioned something about, like, if, you know, a child knows the mom voice, you know, or maybe the dad, and, you know, like, if they're in a crowded mall and the child yells mom, the parent is going to respond because it knows the child's voice, you know, and vice versa. And the same with dad. And so that's how we can know our Savior's voice the more we study. That's why I try to listen to as many Bible-related things as I can, you know, and just really engulf myself in the scriptures, because I may not always be able to recall exactly what I read, but it's in my head. You know, your brain remembers everything, so it's in my head. And I sometimes will come out with something and I'm like, where did that come from? It must have been something that I heard and God put it in my mind to say out of my mouth. And that's another thing that Derek Prince mentioned, is that he tries to be really careful about what he reads, because usually when something gets internalized, it comes out his mouth. And so he tries to be very careful on what he reads. So that just reminded me of that. So anyway, so I was going to put like a little clip of me talking about the voice of God, because I thought I had seen it, or I thought I had said it in one of my recent videos, but I guess I didn't. So it must have been a while ago. It must have been one of those things where I'm remembering it like it was yesterday, but it wasn't. Get it? Because it was yesterday. So yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe, and I will see you in my next podcast. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining. We're so glad you stopped by and paid a visit. Come back next week. Walk in the Lord this week and be blessed.